Hi everyone, I'm Camila Ramon.
And I'm Melissa Ortiz, and this is our very first
episode ever. This is Hasta Abajo, baby. This is our podcast. We're so pumped to be here at iHeart Women's Sports Network.
Oh my gosh, dude. A whole year in the making, and it has finally come to life, into fruition.
Not only into fruition, but also in the first women's sports network of its kind. This is the first of its kind. We're so pumped.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm about to do sprints outside of this building.
No, honestly, Meli and I, we met a couple of years ago. It hasn't been a very long time, but instantly we knew that we needed to get together. As a matter of fact, several people within the past couple of weeks have come up to us and been like, you guys need to start a project together. You need a podcast together. And I was like, little do you know that we're already working on that. So we're really pumped to say that this is going to be the intersection between music, because you know music is make or break when it comes to fitness, when it comes to sport, and also in everything that I do, entrepreneurship in the Latino community, and also obviously sports, fitness, health, wellness, all of those beautiful things. We're just two cutie patootie girly pops amigas in the game, trying to have real life conversations about things we're going through, and motivate you to get up y que muevas el culo.
No, you hit it on the spot, Cami. Like dos Latinas, you know, really crushing it in specific lanes, whether it's me in the broadcast and sports or soccer lane, and you, of course, in the fitness and lifestyle, entrepreneurial and music. Like, I think we came with two different perspectives, but then also so many commonalities that a lot of people, like you listeners, that have, whether it's music, sports, el fútbol,
right?
You know, fitness,
wait, Meli, but
lifestyle.
like real quick, people. What if people don't know you? Like, can you give them real quick? Like, who are you?
Who am I?
Quick.
Okay, I'm an Olympian. I'll say it right now.
Don't
I
forget.
said it. I already said it.
She said it first because I always get on her. She doesn't say it first.
I know.
Okay, continue.
Former professional soccer player. Played for the Colombian women's national team for around 7 years. Played in the Olympics, of course, in the U20 Women's World Cup. Heartbreak. Got injured before the full Women's World Cup. We'll talk about that in another episode. But now, fast forward, after my retirement from soccer, became not only a social media personality, like an influencer, which led me to also being a broadcaster. So I cover soccer, both men's and women's, on TNT Sports, which I cover the U.S. women's and men's national teams year round. And then I also do Fox Sports for like Copa America, World Cups, etc. So my life is full of football, which I'm incredibly honored about. But then also it's full of music and buenas vibras and passion. And yeah, that's why I just feel like this podcast was an incredible outlet to join forces, because it gives us a voice outside of the voice and platforms that we have, which sometimes we can't talk about certain
all
things.
the things that we want to talk about.
Yeah, because
There's just
talking
no
about
time.
Soccer. Yeah. Okay.
We got a 30-second push. I'm not going to tell you my life story, or am I?
Or are you? Which you should. Go on, Cami. Let me hear that introduction to our listeners.
That's hard. You were very efficient. So I was born in Argentina, grew up in Miami. I grew up dancing, running, and then I said, hey, there's no real space where Latinas can feel like they can just move to take care of themselves. It's always with pressure, like aesthetic pressure, to look a certain way, to change yourself. So I started creating my own fitness platform. Eventually, I reached out to Peloton. Peloton said, we want you on.
At what time in the morning you reached out to them?
At 5 a.m. What
time did you get a response?
At 9 a.m. So I'm a bilingual fitness professional. I was the first to teach in English and Spanish on the bike, the tread, dance, cardio on the platform at Peloton. Obviously a Peloton instructor. And now one of my main passions is not only to empower Latinas, Latinos, and literally everybody to train to take care of themselves, to achieve their dreams, to discover all of the potential that you can discover in your training so that you can carry it to the rest of your life and everywhere else in the world, and show everybody how beautiful, amazing, and valuable you are, but also to bring Latin music to the forefront. Also,
I love me some good tracks.
Yeah. There's a huge connection between a creative's mindset and an athlete's mindset. I think because you have to continuously push. You get so many no's along the way that I think overlap so much. And also, I love everything like Latino. I love empowering Latino businesses, owners, entrepreneurs, things like that. So whenever I can have a chance to speak to somebody or to bring a new song or to discover a new artist in a workout and also create an amazing vibe for anybody else on the other side that's looking to train, to work out, to compete, that's what I'm gonna do. So that's what I'm here to talk about as well. And we have some amazing guests lined up. We have the Sucar family, Peruvians who just won 2 Grammys, and they are the first Peruvians to ever win Grammys. That's coming up next week. Who do we have also, Meli?
What's up, Chesca, Boricua, to all my Puerto Ricans.
Such an inspiring conversation. Honestly, that girl is a fighter.
Yes. Oh, wow. What an incredible story.
An amazing musician.
Absolutely. And we also have athletes coming on the show, entrepreneurs and other artists. I don't know if...
Like Bomba Estéreo and Rawayana.
Huh? What? Huh?
Yeah, so stay tuned, you guys. We got some really amazing things cooking up. And are y'all ready to start the show?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. This is Hasta Abajo, baby. Drop the beat.
All right. Well, Cami, I hope you got your cafecito in hand. Do you have it in hand?
I do. I have it right here.
Me too.
And recently, I've been putting lavender creamer in it.
What?
Like oat milk lavender creamer. I know. It's very anti anything.
I'm cringing inside.
I actually really love it.
Well, guys, here's the difference.
Sue me.
I will. Because, I'm Colombian.
I know.
And I love coffee. And
Yeah.
I have it straight black. And I love, love, love just like fresh beans. I like to grind my own beans and then, just do a pour over and just taste all of the, elements inside of my coffee with no additives. Shout out that lavender shit you're drinking.
I mean, I do like a little bit of leche in my cafecito, and I do
get
like
that.
for it to be leche de almendras or leche de avena. And every time I ask a Cuban lady in the Ventanita in Miami, I'm like, ¿tiene leche de almendras? She's like, no. And I'm like, okay, my bad.
No, but they have like 20 pounds of sugar.
100%, and I love that. Shout out Kickoff Coffee Co. We'll get into that a little bit later.
We will get into that.
So on every episode, we're going to start with some girl talk and some cafecito. Meli and I are currently so fucking sore.
Literally.
We have ran 2 half marathons in 2 weeks.
Yes, we did.
My body hurts, but my soul is so happy.
Same.
Like my hip flexor, when I woke up today, it was like
my hip structure.
my hip flexor is busted right now, but I'm gonna do some recovery.
No, same. My knees are just sore. And can we just talk about the fact that the New York City half marathon, like, where the hell did all these inclines come from?
People
I was
are
not
liars.
expecting
People
that.
fucking lie.
Yeah.
Okay, hear me out. Anybody who says that's a relatively flat course, you're a liar.
No.
And I'm going to
Mentirosos.
Yeah. So my ass is also very sore today, which is, I'm not mad about it.
I mean, when my ass is sore, I'm like, hope it's from a good perreo. Like, I went out last night to the club. I got a little low. Like, that's when I'm like, actually, like, hell yeah, that was worth it. But I don't know, those bridges, like,
No,
that's when
I
I'm
like-
like, shit, was
I
it
like
worth
when my ass is sore, period. Okay, me crezcan los glúteos, baby. Okay, me crezcan los glúteos. You got a PR. You got a...
I did. Okay, so
Actually, the Miami Marathon was Meli's first half marathon ever.
was.
We ran it together with the speaker, obviously blasting Bad Bunny.
I had a sinus infection.
She had a sinus infection. I had been working outdoors for 5 days.
You were dehydrated.
Which I cannot disclose why we was doing that, but stay tuned.
Yes.
And I was like mad dehydrated. We went to get IVs the day before.
We did.
They were very successful, honestly. I think that they worked very
I think
well.
she added some performance additive in that.
Whatever it was, I felt amazing the next day. I was like, I'm ready for this shit.
She was like, do you want to add this additive? I'm like, how much is it? She's like, it's like $100 extra. I'm like,
whatever you gotta do. Whatever you gotta do.
Literally.
Yeah, I got it too. It was nice.
Yeah, but thank God I ran with Camila. Honestly, because she is a pacer. Like, you are legit running. I know you've been running like your whole life. You ran in high school
Yeah.
and everything.
I ran cross country and track and
Yeah,
field.
and in soccer, like, I was always just used to sprints. You definitely get it in mileage and games and practices, but you're on and off. You're sprinting. So when it comes to marathons and stuff, this is like a whole new chapter for me in my life. And thankfully, that was my first half marathon, and I ran it with Cami, and it was such great vibes. Like, we had the speaker on, jamming out. People were literally left and right going up to Cami like, oh my God, is that Camila Ramon? And I was like, yeah, it is. And then, like, they would go up to you and like take pictures with you mid running while we're like,
Shout out to the mafia out there who trains with me on the tread.
Yes.
Love to see you guys out there in the wild. And I apologize for anybody who I did not see at the New York City half marathon because I was in the zone. Like, I had the what do you call it? The not do not disturb.
Silent?
audio, silent mode.
Oh, noise canceling.
I had noise canceling on because I
Yeah.
wanted to hear my music in my brain. So if anybody said hi to me, I apologize. I love you guys. Meli, you travel so much for work. I think
do.
lately we've both been traveling a lot. I've been like running marathons in Miami, New York, and now we're doing the pod. We're going to be traveling more, interviewing different artists and athletes and things like that. So how
Getting those sky miles, baby.
Yeah, lol. How do you stay in motion while you're traveling? It's so hard.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
A lot of it seems like so glamorous, right? Like I have some friends hit me up. They're like, "Oh my gosh, like it's so your life is so awesome," which I'm so grateful that what I do, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard because when you're not in the same place or have the same routine, it's challenging because you need to kind of try to stay in the same routine, but you're in different places out of your routine.
Right.
So for me, I mean, man, like last year I went on around 100 flights. Okay.
100?
I did the math. Yeah. So far, so good. I haven't gotten those numbers yet this year, but it changes as the years go on, as the year goes on. But
100 is crazy.
yeah, dude, it was nuts. So I like to prioritize certain things, meaning like my priority for me is like what's going to make me feel good. But one is prioritizing like my sleep and how I feel. So
Right.
I definitely want to get in like good sleep.
Yeah.
And it's hard when you're
100%.
jet
If you
lagged or
don't
something.
sleep,
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want to fucking talk to me if I don't sleep.
Same. Yeah.
Literally.
Same.
Soy la más tóxica.
Y ojeras, me, like ojera central. Like I'm like, my face right now, what's going on?
Okay.
So I prioritize sleep, and then I also like to prioritize fitness as well. I either run, depending on where I am. If I know the city well, I'll run outside. If I don't know the city well, I mean, unfortunately, being a woman in a city that you're not familiar with, like safety first. So then I just find a tread and I'll either run, I'll do weightlifting. I love to weightlift, strength train, or I'll, find a local class, whether it's like Pilates or an F45, like something like that. That's what I usually do.
Yeah.
That's my like try to stay in my routine mode. Then recently I've just been traveling with like my not gonna lie, like a Ziploc bag of like my go-to kits. Say with like my vitamins, like my protein, things
I
like
take
that.
my probiotics everywhere I go.
Exactly.
And a protein powder also goes a long way when
Yes.
you're traveling, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've also, something that I've been doing as I've traveled more and more is prioritizing the things that I know that I'm not going to be able to get to do while I'm traveling. So for example, like let's say most places have a tread. Like they have a treadmill. It's not going to be the best tread in the world, aka a Peloton tread, lol. But it's going to be something that you can run on. And like I said, how I love being a woman. You have to worry about running outside wherever you go. You can't just like run anywhere, especially if you're not familiar with the neighborhood, the streets, all that stuff. So I know that I'm going to be able to get my cardio in. So I try to prioritize like strength training or weight training whenever I'm home, so that when I leave, I'm like, okay, if it doesn't work out, then I know that I got like my 2 to 3 weight training sessions in for the week, and I'm feeling good. And then I get my runs in, or if I know that I'm going to a specific location that has like a good weight training setup. But I like to set myself up for success and have like lower expectations when I travel and be flexible with the training that I get in, but also like land. And if I have the opportunity or a break after landing, which you typically do, like get a workout in right away.
Yeah.
So hopefully those hacks help, even though I think we can dive a little bit deeper into that. But today we're going to talk about mental fortitude.
Yes, we are.
But that's after the break. Something I'm super interested in is mental fortitude, not only from an athlete's perspective, but also from creatives. So I personally feel like there's a huge connection between somebody who is continuously creative, trying to break barriers and continuously pushing after a dream, after an idea, after, creating like an album, a song, a track, or introducing something new to a community and being continuously said no or told no, like this is not going to work, this is not going to be enough, you're not enough, whatever. Athletes and creatives do fight a similar battle in the sense of like you're continuously like walking into a wall and being told no before somebody actually understands what you're impact can be, and women too. Like as a woman in the fitness space, that's something that I have seen a lot. So today we're going to be talking about mental fortitude. Meli is somebody who has a very strong mind. Like we talk about it all the time. Like we are so different. I have so much anxiety. I have suffered from depression before. Meli's somebody who's a genuinely like positive person. Not saying she doesn't have her lows at all. Like I'm not going to talk for you either,
for sure.
but she's somebody that I personally look up to as to how she like constructs her mind. And I think one of the things that you spoke about earlier was your time and your battles within the Colombia national team.
Yeah, for sure. I think being just an athlete in general, right? Like we grew up having to do sprints, having to do like so many fitness tests, like the grind to keep on proving yourself to get a starting spot. Not only like because of the way you're performing, you're scoring goals, but also you're trying to pass fitness tests.
Yeah.
And there's such a mental battle behind that because there's like a pain cave where you're actually like physically tired. You're like, I can't do it anymore. Like you it's like an end of
lovely.
Yeah.
At the end of a marathon.
But then all of a sudden you got to tell your brain, like, I can do it.
Yeah.
Like, I can push through these last 5 minutes. I could push through these last, 2 minutes, or I could push this extra time, right? And so I think that just playing sports in general, whether it was soccer, lacrosse, volleyball, basketball when I was little, like, those experiences really helped me to become who I am now, which I think is, like, a really well-prepped and, like, mentally strong woman. And then on the Colombian national team, like I played for Colombia essentially like without making any money, which is crazy to say. Like literally a team that we played in the Olympics, we played in the Women's World Cup, U20 World Cup, etc.
And Colombia soccer team has a lot of visibility.
Yeah, well back then it unfortunately didn't because like a bunch of like Latino men were in charge and are still to this day in charge of the federation. And so we weren't getting any coverage or support. And so, we went through, when I say we, like my teammates and I went through years of putting on the jersey, sweating the jersey, sudando la camiseta, to make it to these World Cups and Olympics just out of pure pride and passion. Not chasing, obviously, the money because we didn't make any.
Zero paper involved.
Yeah, not trying to chase any, like, let's say, clout because there was no coverage, right? It was just more out of, like, qué orgullo de poder representar a nuestro país, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that has really been able to teach me life lessons in the long run post-soccer playing career. For instance, it's like I'm not chasing the dollar bills. I'm not chasing, this like an extravagant, glamorous life. I'm chasing my passion.
Yeah.
And I've always told people when they ask me, like, what has, like, led you to, like, so many cool opportunities or different things? And I've always said I've lived my life by passion, whether that's playing soccer, or whether that's covering soccer because I'm so passionate about soccer, whether it's starting this podcast with you, Cami, because like I found like, wow, I feel like we need this, like, and we need two Latinas like coming together and providing a platform and an outlet for other people like us to find like similar conversations, similarities, relatable things, relatable shit that we go through day in and day out. So anyways, that mental fortitude I think has just like really told me live your life by passion. Then when there are hard times in my career, whether it was on the field or off the field, I just like it's hard for me to give up. I don't.
What did you tell yourself
when I was like on the realm of giving up?
Yeah, when you were on the realm of giving up, or like you were in those moments where you were like, for lack of better words, fuck this place. Like these people are like, they don't care, but like I know that I'm passionate about this, and like we know as women in the space how valuable it is to just be that representation for others, right? So how did that feel for you? Like how did you even navigate that?
So I just kept putting my head down, kept grinding because I had my own goal. Yeah. And that goal was to keep on playing for the national team and then playing at the world's greatest stage, whether it's like in the Olympics or the World Cup. Now, there was a time in my career where I did say, fuck these people, like I'm on to better and bigger things. But I didn't say like, fuck these people because I'm giving up, right? It's kind of like you shift gears. It's like when one thing maybe isn't working out, can you set up a plan and another goal that's going to lead you to your next like potential destination?
Yes.
And that's exactly
and
what I did.
And being smart about it.
Yeah, for sure. So when I realized that, I tore my Achilles 5 days before the Women's World Cup, The Colombian Federation at the time was treating me like absolute shit.
Which we will get into.
We will.
Yeah.
Oh, believe me. Believe me, believe you. And so at that time, I realized after a year-long recovery that I was more valuable than the way that other people, and especially them, were treating me and valuing me. And that's when I shifted my gears, set up a new goal, and said, "This is what I want to do."
Other people's opinions of you have absolutely no effect on your value.
Exactly.
Period.
And that's mental fortitude. Honestly, it's you in your brain telling yourself you are worth it.
Yeah.
Whether it's, look, you're at the last mile of your marathon and you're telling your brain you are worth it. You can fucking do it. Like, you can, go all out. You can do this. Yeah. Right. Or it's in times in life where you're going through a rough time and you got to tell your brain and have faith, like, I can get through this. There are better things ahead for me. As long as you're keep putting in the grind, as long as you're, I think, like a good person in general, if you're a good person, other good people will certainly help you. And so, like, I think that just the mental fortitude has just been a result of, like, resilient times both on and off the pitch. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said also about understanding that, like, believing in yourself and, like, trusting in your abilities, like, is only something that can come from you. Like, 100,000%.
I mean, you did it. You trusted your abilities, like,
for sure. Well, for me, it's a little bit more on the creative side, right? Because it's, like, a little bit more entrepreneurial rather than performance based, right? So we talk about, like, creatively, like, how we're gonna have, like, Astropical come on, like, when you think about the careers of, like, these big timers, like Shakira, a musician that has been through so much, she like never just quit. She continued to reinvent herself, and that's something that I have a lot of respect for other people. And I do believe that, like, you can reinvent yourself as many times as you want, and as many times as you need. But I would like to say, put an emphasis on the want, because at the end of the day, it is our lives, and we can do whatever it is that we want to do with our lives.
Love that.
For me, like, starting out in, like, fitness, I remember I was in LA when I started, like, my fitness journey, and it wasn't until I started to, like, really trust myself, because I was doing, like, very English forward classes when I was in LA, because I was afraid of, like, how people would perceive me, or that the people that came to the classes wouldn't like the music or wouldn't take my class. And it wasn't until, and I was creating my programs in Spanish on the side, and I was training in Spanish on the side.
Wow.
Playing Bad Bunny, playing reggaeton, and that's where I felt like my calling was. I kept being pulled in that direction. And it wasn't until I started, like, really embracing myself and, like, fully diving into that, like, side gig that I was trying to do, that things started working out for me. There were so many different gyms that didn't understand the value of, like, what it was that I was bringing, or wanted me to work for free. And I refused to do that. And at certain times, you have to do that. You have to, like, set yourself up to be able to have experience. But after a certain amount of time, you have to be like, no, like, I understand the value of what I'm bringing. Just because you don't understand that, or you want to take advantage of me because you are a man and you own a gym and you have the ability to, like, say no to me, doesn't mean that you're right. Matter of factly, like, there was a gym that I, like, quit, and one of my the owner of the gym had, like, said something to me and was like, oh, like, he had said no to me about, like, something and put me on, like, the shittiest time slots. And my male friend that I had...
Wait, what were their time slots?
I think it was like 6 a.m. Or, like, he wanted me to do, like, an event or something for free.
Yeah.
And I called my guy friend. I was like, hey, is this guy, like, asking you to do all this? And he's like, nah. And I'm like, why is he asking me to do so much extra shit? Like, you literally just show up and, like, go to work and, like, ride out. Like, and then he, like, didn't want to pay me for that. So then I, like, quit the gym, and then I called my guy friend and I told him what happened, and he left too. And I was like, respect to you. Love you forever.
Allies.
Yeah, 100%. Also, like, when I was developing my own app, like, I had to work for a year on an app. And if you know about, like, programming, and creating your own app takes forever, especially if you're trying to do it from scratch for iOS and Android. I worked for a year, and then my partner that I had been working with ended up fucking me over.
Oh, shit.
So then, and taking all the code and taking everything. So I was, like, mad depressed because I had literally, and it was, like, during the pandemic. So I had, like, nobody to see. We were all mentally doing so poorly.
Yeah.
I had recently had a death in my family. I was unwell.
Yeah.
I started going to therapy like twice a week, every single week. And I was like, I don't want to start from scratch. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. And something in my brain was like, no, keep going, do it from scratch. So I started again. I did it twice.
Holy
2 years
shit.
it took me. It took me 2 years to build out what eventually became a beautiful launch pad for me to also like, I was going to create something special. Like I was creating something so beautiful already. But when I sent an email to the CEO of Peloton, like they were like, yeah, there's no choice but to hire this girl. Like she's doing it already. Like she literally is like I was like in the perfect position. So for me, that took so much mental fortitude for me not to give up on myself, for me to trust my gut and like understand that my value was not determined by some like shitty gym owner who had no idea what the fuck he was talking about.
Exactly. Oh, that's so inspiring, dude, honestly. Like, you could have easily given up. You could have said, I'm going to find something else or another, I don't know, career path or whatever it is. That happens so many times. It's such a common story. But you didn't.
No.
And you kept going. So that's
and I
incredible.
think a lot of like my mindset comes from our mindset obviously from being athletes. Like we never give up. Like we know that if we work hard, we can achieve something. We know that if I train, I can hit a pace that I want to hit for a marathon or for a run, or that I'm going to get better at my craft at like passing, dribbling, whatever it is that you want to get better at. You just have to work on it, which is also the same mindset that we bring, to ourselves. This is our first episode. Maybe it's gonna be shitty, but it's gonna get better. We're gonna
Yes,
we're gonna
there's only one way, and that's up.
No, literally, there's only one way. We're starting real abajo, but don't worry, we'll take it up to the sky, baby. We're only going up from here. And that's something beautiful about like sport and fitness. Like I'm reading this right now, but a significant percentage of women in executive leadership positions were once athletes. In fact, 94% of women in the C-suite have a background in playing sports.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I could speak wonders about this, and I don't want to like X out women who haven't played sports or who didn't play sports. You know what I mean? But I just want to say, just from experience, like having played sports or having not even played sports, like having had a really committed hobby or something when you were younger really helps.
It's
with
about
that.
mindset. It's never too late. It's never too late to adopt the mindset, though.
No, but it really teaches you about, being a team player, working especially like in, let's just say in a corporate setting or not even corporate setting. Like I of course work for TMT Source, but apart from that, it's more on the entrepreneurial side, like self-employed, and you as well, you have your side business apart from Peloton.
Yeah.
And so you learn a lot about like that, like, not giving up, getting through challenges, relying on other people around you for help. Not relying, but like reaching out, requesting.
Not being afraid to ask for help.
Exactly, just like you're on a team.
Yeah.
And then I think the most important thing I've learned from sports, to be honest, is confidence. Like confidence for me, you could have a shitty ass game, okay? And I've been through those. And then I look back and I'm like, damn, like, was I really that confident in that game? And then I look back and I said, you know what? It might have been a shitty game, but at least I took shots. At least I gave it out there. And when I look now into my current career, like on camera, on live TV, I always like have to start out with like just be confident. Confident will then drive my energy, like just give me that like great baseline, and the rest is gonna flow through. Okay, so like for me, like for sports and women who have come from sports or maybe who haven't and are working in their jobs, similar to those of like the C-suite execs, like 94% are women in those positions. I think a lot of it is because of confidence. You get into a room, you get a seat at the table, and if you have confidence, girl, like you will drive conversation.
Yeah, you have to have confidence though. Like there's no negotiation in those positions for a woman to be in that space and like lack confidence. Like there's not that grace that other people might have for sure. I think for me too, like one of the questions that I get asked the most relating to confidence too, and honestly I was having a conversation about this with my brother because he has to give a lot of presentations at work now, and he didn't used to have to do that, and he's like, how do you just like get on camera and like talk? I'm like, I just do it. And like a lot of times I'm super nervous and my throat closes before I go on air sometimes. And I have to be like, no, throat, please work because I can't breathe. And I think that me getting through that too stems from like, you know, cross country or like towing the line. It's like 3, 2, the gun goes off. And at that point, like your heart is dropping, but you learn to kind of just like, you have to live through that. You have to live through those moments. So if you have a girl in your life and you want to put her into sports, the time is now. Put your little girls in sports, baby. Like, more women in sports, more girls in sports, please.
Absolutely. Amen to that.
I want to ask you a question, Meli, because you're such an inspiration to me personally, which is why I feel so honored to share this space with you. When you think of your life, de arriba hasta abajo, your life story, what do you think was the main factor that contributed to your success?
It's a great one. De arriba hasta abajo. I'd say, I kind of mentioned it, passion. I think passion has really, really driven me to so many different accomplishments. Passion has driven me to so many different experiences, and also, and most importantly, just so many different friendships and relationships. But like what I say is like, you know, if I'm so passionate about something and I want it, that's what's going to drive my motivation. That's what's going to drive me to get up early and work on it, to stay up late and work on it. You know, that's what's really going to set me apart, I think, from maybe others that are trying to achieve that same thing. You know, it's just like in a game. I relate so much stuff to sports and, of course, soccer. It's like, if I passionately want to win the freaking championship, like with my heart, my soul, mi alma, like that's what's going to get me to that, to score that goal or to lift the trophy or to start this podcast or to host Messi or to, I don't know, there's like so many different accomplishments that I think back and I'm like, holy shit, like it was definitely passion driven that has really motivated me. So
Meli's a passionate girly pop. Shout out to Meli's husband. We know that'll be a great success.
I was about to say a dirty joke, but I'm not
so
going
proud
now.
of you. You can. Go ahead, Sucia.
Ay, Dios, success.
A lot of success in her life. A lot of success in her life.
Anywho, I'm blushing. Or is it hot in here? Is it me? No, but yeah, so passion is that one for me. What about you? De arriba hasta abajo.
I think I talk about this a lot, but I think as an immigrant, I think it's the work ethic that my parents instilled in me that have taught me that if you keep going, you won't lose. Like there's a way out always. And I have a lot of respect for everything that my parents gave up in order to give me the opportunity to be here, to be having this podcast, to be doing a job that my abuela has absolutely no idea what it is. I tell her, tengo mi propio show de fitness, que es como entrevistando a gente, you know. I work with a lot of artists. She has absolutely no idea why they're on bicycles with me or who they are. Even though she did hear she called me the other day. She's like, ay, Lollapalooza en Argentina iba a estar Fade. I was like, oh, he did a class with me. And then she was like, oh my God, sí, yo sé. Y le estoy diciendo a todo el mundo. Like she was telling everybody. But
love that.
I think for me it's that. I think for me it's the work ethic and the responsibility that I feel to represent something for the community that I am a part of and that I love. Community is everything to me. So the people on the other side that they're my why. They're what makes me feel fulfilled. When I get messages from other people telling me I started to love myself because I started taking your classes and I started to hear these conversations from you. When somebody told me I'm 60 years old and I finally started to love my body because I'm taking your classes. Somebody tells me my name is Nick, but all my friends now call me Nicolás because all I do is listening to reggaeton because you introduced me to that music.
Love it.
When people tell me I live in Germany and I feel so connected to my Puerto Rican, my Mexican, my Latin roots because you give me a window into what makes me feel like I'm home. That's just what does it for me. So it's both the work ethic and also the community for sure.
Amen.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. When we come back, y'all, Cami.
I'm going to share some artists that I'm absolutely loving so that you guys continue on this amazing music discovery moment and so that you guys can add it to your workout playlist. And Meli, what are you going to share?
I'm going to share a little bit about a big event coming up in the world of football.
Okay, well, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Every episode, Cami and I will leave you with more of the two things we love the most, which is
music
and football o el deporte. And when we were brainstorming about what we wanted to call this like last part of our show, which we wanted to leave it like on this high, but also like give you like send you off with like a tip. Send you.
Meli
off.
was actually very excited to present this to me.
I really was.
Yeah. She was like, how, when.
Well, when if you played soccer, you're about to send a cross in the air, and the one that wants to score the goal and like get that famous moment of scoring a golazo, they scream out, "Hey, hágame famoso," or like "hágame famosa," and that means that's a calling for like someone to give you
make me famous,
aka make me famous. But that's like a calling out loud for someone to make them famous, like with an assist in the air, with a cross, with a pass, whatever it is. So that's how I was like, "Yo, we gotta help people, like send them off with something like not only educational, but also like, yo, be that MVP at that party, or be that, I don't know, goal scorer at your next social outing or in the office." And that's your time to like say famoso, say famosa.
So we got you with that assist, both in women's sports and also in la música latina. For me, music is so important. As you know, it's a part of everything that I do. It fuels me. I'm listening to a Latin music playlist everywhere I go. Sometimes also I listen to some metal. I listen to some rock. I listen to some pop punk. I do have layers. I'm a girl that has a range, like in SpongeBob. So for me, right now, what I'm listening to on repeat is this artist right now from Puerto Rico. You might know her from Perfumito Nuevo, the song that she just did with Bad Bunny on Bad Bunny's new album. Yeah. It's so lit. Her voice is incredible. But her new album, Capicu, relatively new. It dropped a while ago. But Capicu is incredible. If you have not checked it out, please check it out. This is how you... people start trusting you with the aux cord.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
When you go to the party, nobody's going to boo you, okay? If you listen to me.
Just or in the locker room.
Exactly. So listen to Camila, por favor, before you start embarrassing yourself playing Despacito again for the 85th time, or Suavemente by Elvis Crespo. Nobody wants to hear that shit anymore, okay? Stop playing Despacito at the party, okay? We need some perreo intenso, okay? We need Héctor el Father. We need El Bambino, Tito el Bambino. We need some Karol G, but not like the pop tracks. We need to get a little bit deeper into the albums, okay? That's why also you need to be playing Nati Peluso. She's an Argentinian artist that lives in Spain now. Her latest album, Grasa, got some Grammys. She has some really iconic tracks that are coming out of that album. Make sure that you check them out. My favorite one is the one that goes, "Levántate, perra, no hay tiempo. Si te duele, curita."
That sounds like a great alarm clock.
No, literally. That means get up right now, bitch. If it hurts, put a Band-Aid on it.
I need that as my alarm tune to wake up to. No, setting it now. She's
extremely powerful. And also, I want to talk about her swag and the branding that's coming along with the album and her tour right now. She's absolutely killing it. So if you want to check out a powerful woman on stage that's taking up space unapologetically, check out Nati Peluso. What about you, Meli?
All right, y'all. Me up. Yeah, so I want to talk about, of course, sports in general, whether it's women's or men's sports. But since this is the first episode, the timing is just right. It's just right. Because I will be heading to Los Angeles because the U.S. women's national team will be playing against Brazil on April the 5th at SoFi. Oh
my
y'all,
God.
If you have seen SoFi Stadium, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. And of course, it's iconic. It's a FIFA World Cup stadium that we'll be able to enjoy in 2026. But on top of that, this is the first time a women's professional sporting event will be played at SoFi. So, y'all, if you're in the LA area or near it and want to travel in, April 5th, with U.S. women's national team taking on Brazil, also important because that was the gold medal match in the Olympics over the summer, which the U.S. women's national team beat Brazil. And so it's like a revenge match. And I'm just so happy not only to be a part of it, part of the broadcast team that we will be covering it, but just also it's another historic and iconic moment to be a part of, given that it'll be the first women's professional sporting match at this huge stadium. So LA, what's up? Hit me up when I'm there. Give me some good coffee spots.
And I love a picante match moment. Like that one's going to be real spicy. And also for all of our listeners who may not be as familiar with women's sports, I just want to put it out there that this is a beautiful space for Meli to teach us. Meli's the expert here, right? So we're going to be learning together. There's no shame in the game. It's never too late to get involved. We're all just really happy to be here and to have these conversations. So if you have any particular questions or things that you want to hear from Meli, things that you want to learn, feel free to reach out to us because we're here to bring women's sports and women in general, Latinas, to the forefront. So
yeah, I mean, and this conversation came up too, like, what do I want to leave the audience with? Because I could have said something, like music, like soccer in general, whatever it is, but I've had different conversations even recently, like someone coming up and being like, oh my gosh, like I'm not a fan of women's soccer, but I'm a fan of you. Okay. Right. Because of like the coverage or things like that. Or like I don't watch women's sports, but like I watch like your coverage, like some of the men's soccer games, like Copa America and Colombia, like whatever it is. And they're Latinas. And I realized over the course of time, like, it's a commonality that unfortunately, like, some, like, Latinas aren't supporting Latinas in different realms, in different spaces, right? But more specifically, like, women's sports, right? Like, so many Latinas could be fans of Selección Colombia or Selección Argentina in soccer. Right. But they have no idea what the women's team is doing. Yeah. Okay. And so it's just a common thing. And like you said, Cami, no shame in the game. Right. We're all here to grow together and lift each other up. Okay. And that's like what I would love the audience to take away so that, we're able to say, as a Latina, I could show like, hey, this other Latina who's playing for Angel City in the NWSL, or this other Latina who's playing in the WNBA, or this Latina who is playing in the Women's World Cup, whatever it is, like, look what they're doing, We're
going to make it easy for you guys too. So we want to have these conversations to provide you with the tools so that you can just like, turn on a match and watch it, or like know the latest from Meli so that you're like, okay, April 5th, I'm there, baby. Add it to the calendar right now. Put it on your thing.
Or when you're at the next bar, it's a great conversation. Sports? Conversation maker? Yeah, that breaks the ice. So, yeah, that's what I'm so pumped and also like incredibly grateful to have this platform to be able to educate others with.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm grateful that you are educating all of us at the same time. So stay tuned because we will be having a lot more of these amazing conversations. We will be bringing some iconic artists on the platform very often because like we said earlier, nothing makes or breaks a workout or a training session more than a shitty or really good playlist. So we are going to hook you up. And I think with that, Meli, that's a wrap on this week's episode.
Yo, we just did our first episode.
We did our first episode.
Holy shit.
High five, baby. I'm so proud of us. Thank you guys for joining us. And then we will see you next week when we interview the Sucar family. It's a party, baby. That was one of my favorite interviews that I've ever done, period. They're so dynamic. Do not miss it. Extremely inspiring, extremely humble. So we'll catch you next week.
Wait, Cami. We can't leave the audience yet without the last thing we do.
Oh, yeah. Wait, first, don't forget to subscribe.
And
we'll see you next time. Hasta abajo, hasta abajo, hasta abajo. Hey. Hasta Abajo is an iHeart Women's sports production in partnership with Deep Blue Sports and Entertainment.
For more podcasts, listen to the iHeart Radio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.